him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-ma-gob, it's time for the only news that matters. And Gene Simmons of Kiss remembered the godfather of heavy metal as a one-of-a-kind performer who was a menacing presence on stage and a warm-hearted, thoughtful friend and family man when the show was over. All right. Last week, some of you may know, I was in the hospital for 10 days. So when I came out of the hospital, I didn't have enough energy to do the only news that matters. So I did an only news that matters on Gene Simmons talking about whatever that I did like a month or so ago that I saved for a week where there's no Kiss news. So I put that one up instead because I'm a little weak, all right? Well, I got a comment from somebody saying, you put up this crap and you don't talk about the beautiful things Gene Simmons said about Ozzy? All right, let me stop for a second now. Let's say the guy that left that comment didn't know I was in the hospital. It still makes him a douche. All right, so let's keep reading this, all right? Simmons, who co-founded the hard rock band Kiss in the 70s, told NBC LA Tuesday that he was grief-stricken about learning the messages popping up on his phones were true. Ozzy Osbourne has died at 76. The stunning news came just weeks after the farewell tour with fellow rock stars and some 4,000 fans in Ozzy's hometown. Not to mention, I'm sure it was probably like a million in pay-per-view. And you know, he said when he looked at the text, it said Ozzy's dead, and I thought it was fake news. So did I, actually. After a week ago, Ozzy seemed healthy. He was at the concert. Yes, he was in a chair, but all that energy, he was still Ozzy. Through the ups and downs of stardom, Ozzy remained an original, Simmons said. He said, before Ozzy, there wasn't such a thing as Ozzy. He was the scientist called a singularity. Somehow he sprang out of nowhere. Not from New York or Paris or some fancy city. He came from the industrial town of Birmingham. He was just a regular guy. Yes, on stage, the Prince of Darkness. Loving father, dedicated husband. Most people break up their families, especially men, and abandon their families. And he was a stand-up guy who treated the Queen of England the same way he treated his next-door neighbor. All right, that's it. That's what I didn't say next week that pissed this guy off. If you didn't see my only news that matters this past Sunday, there were some great tributes as well. But, you know, I'm not saying Gene's tribute's bad. It's nice. It's heartfelt. Finally, he says something to the press that is true, man. He was one of a kind. And, you know, and Ozzy said the world was black and white until he heard the Beatles. Then the world turned color. And he said, that's what I want to do. So Ozzy is a huge Beatles fan, and hopefully he's with John Lennon right now. That'd be nice, you know. You know, Ozzy's persona is kind of John Lennon with the little round glasses and stuff. You know, and he did John Lennon covers. You know, he was a huge John Lennon fan, you know, and a huge Beatles fan. And you know who also was a huge Beatles fan? Oh my God, Kiss! Yeah, so, what can you say, man? I've already done several news stories about the Ozzy thing, and I'll be repeating myself, but I figured, let me put this news aside for the guy out there that was like, oh my God, Kiss! Gene Simmons said something about Ozzy, and you didn't put it up? You douche. So now that I did this news story, see if you can download it and put it on something very thick and shove it up your arse sideways. And you know, one of the things Gene said is what almost everybody that threw a dedication to to Ozzy out, you know, that he was real. He was the real deal. There's people out there that don't like Ozzy because he's real. You know, I prefer technical this and that, and which is cool. That's your thing, but you're clueless if you think, and I've seen this comment before, you're clueless if you think that Ozzy is a talentless hack and a buffoon. That guy wrote the melodies. You may not know this because you're not in a band or you don't write songs. Or if you do write songs and are in a band and think that of Ozzy, then that means your band sucks. Because Ozzy wrote incredible melodic vocal lines. He even did some lyrics. Hey, the first Black Sabbath, the first song ever of heavy metal, the song Black Sabbath, Ozzy wrote those lyrics. I know some like to dispute it, but I guess you all missed that video interview of Geezer Butler saying Ozzy wrote those lyrics. He wrote Fairies Wear Boots, Who Are You? He wrote The Writ, one of my favorite Black Sabbath songs. He was mega talented. Like, you know, y'all give credit to the people around Ozzy that helped him write the music and lyrics and stuff, but you can't tell me one person that contributed to Ozzy's solo career, or even Black Sabbath, that were bigger, that did anything bigger than what they did with Ozzy. You can't name one. Their most successful stuff, Black Sabbath's most successful stuff, whether you like it or not, was with Ozzy. Everybody, Bob Daisley, who I love, and you know, you can go down the list. I think Randy Rhoads might have broke that trend. I don't know, maybe. It's just wishful thinking on my part. Maybe Randy could have done something. Because look at all these people that were with Ozzy and they did incredible things like Badlands. Amazing stuff. Didn't sell. Well, not nowhere near about, you know, how Bark of the Moon or Ultimate Sin was. Doesn't mean it's worse or not as good. No, I'm just saying. If you want to sell a lot of records, get Ozzy to sing your stuff. But very important, get Ozzy to write the melody lines to your stuff as well. Because without that melody line, Ozzy wouldn't have been that great. But he was. He was amazing. He was great. He had a unique voice, and he was real. He was for the people. He didn't act like, oh, I'm better than you. He just went up there and did his thing. He knew he was great. He knew he was special. But he had you all feel like, no, you're not better than me. That's the feeling I got from Ozzy. Is that, hey, I'm just like all you guys. I just got very lucky. And he said it in countless interviews, how lucky he is. With the life he had, and he had that much success with the craziness. Forget it, man. Ozzy rules. And not many solo acts leaves the band they were in and became more successful. Can you think of one? There probably is. Leave it in the comments below. Who became more successful when they left the original band? There may be one. I don't know. Maybe Peter Cetera or some shit. I don't keep up with stuff like that, so I wouldn't know. All I know, in my world, Ozzy eclipsed everything Black Sabbath did, and I'm more of a Black Sabbath fan, but popularity-wise, he became a superstar. And there's not many rock stars everybody would know who they are. But they know Ozzy because of his TV show. Your grandmother knew Ozzy. He transcended the rock star stuff, man. He really did. He became more than just a rock star. He became a legend, a living legend for decades. For 50 years, he was a living legend. You can't fucking go up to everybody and say, hey, who's Gene Simmons? They'll know Gene Simmons that you show them the makeup. They probably won't know his name. They'll say, oh, yeah, Kiss. Ozzy, forget it. And Gene knows that too. Ozzy was one of a kind. And damn, man, I miss him. I miss him so much. But anyway, cool thing Gene said. I'm not slamming it. Good stuff. He's honest. He's saying the truth for a change. And there you go. Gene Simmons tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. So thank you everybody for watching The Only News That Matters. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. ring that little notification bell, and like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath with Ozzy and smack 'em a gob.
And adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.